Am I the a-hole for being annoyed at my wife's refusal to learn basic food preparation? I, 32 male, used to be very obsessed with cooking. I can invent new recipes with interesting ingredients, prepare a 3-course meal for a large group of guests, handle most techniques, and etc. However, now I work in tech for very long hours, 60 to 90 hours per week, don't have time to cook during the week. Because of this, my 30 female wife does most of the cooking during the week for our family with 2 kids. And I cook on weekends. We have a traditional relationship where she doesn't work and instead looks after the kids during the week. Well, I bring in the money. We have enough money to hire cleaners, so that's not really part of our domestic arrangement. Unfortunately, my wife is very bad at cooking and has no interest in learning. She will consistently make basic mistakes like burning bread or undercooking meat, and it's difficult for me to stomach some of the meals she prepares. I have repeatedly offered to pay for her to take cooking classes, but she refuses. And when I try and give her advice on cooking, it annoys her as she finds it patronizing. So to keep the peace, I mostly shut my mouth and try to just get the food down without acting disgusted. Things came to a head the other day when she brought me a big glass of warm water with 3 small ice cubes in it. I know this seems probably petty, but I have explained to her politely more than a dozen times over the last year that when you make a glass of water, you simply fill the glass mostly with ice and put cold water in it, rather than getting warm water from the tap and dunking 3 ice cubes on it. After she brought it, I took it back to the kitchen, threw it out, and got my own glass of ice water, and she got very offended. I explained that making a satisfying glass of water properly is such a basic thing that at this point it feels like she does it purposely for the sake of being stubborn and resisting following my advice. I don't know of anyone else in my friends and family network who can't prepare a refreshing glass of water. It's something you can teach a 5-year-old kid to do in 10 minutes. She accused me of being petty and said I should just shut up and drink the water, that I was being a total baby for making an issue out of it. I totally agree, this all sounds petty, but I don't know how to progress the situation. Her preparation of food and water is just so bad, and she doesn't want to make any changes to the way she does it. Whenever I make meals for anyone, especially my family, I put a lot of effort into making sure they enjoy it. Now for the top comments. Here's a comment from She Sells Death Nails. I think they're both being jerks to each other to an extent, but that sounds like a good glass of water to me. Too cold and just like overstimulating almost. Using a straw can help in the restaurant because wait staff don't really get it. They sound pretty mean to each other overall, but when he described the glass of water, I laughed a little because I think I would break this brain. Another comment from Katie Cricket. That's your water preference, but this is how he likes his water. If my partner preferred a drink in a certain way and asked me to do that for him, I would make sure to do that. Is that not basic relationship stuff? OP is not the a-hole. In my own opinion, a little effort to help make your partner happy, and let's face it, eating crappy food all week sucks, is a standard requirement for a healthy partnership. And here's another comment from Popper McWoofin. My parents have different water preferences. It's not hard to learn that. I've known since I was a kid, especially if you've been married for a while. If your job is a homemaker, you should learn how to do it properly. That's their agreement. He works and she stays at home. Staying home and taking care of the kids and cooking, since they have a cleaner, is what her job is. And not knowing cooking is equivalent to performing badly at your job. Another comment from Throwaway J38SLD. Yeah, like the wife simply doesn't care to raise her game. And that little effort for the people you love is what shows the love and consideration. Not saying she should become chef proficient, but dishing up undercooked meat to a husband and kids is not okay. My partner and I have different tea preferences, but I make them differently, and I've learned to make meals he loves like he's learned to make a decent spag bowl. Gotta go with not the a-hole too. Next story. Am I the a-hole for bringing up my brother's 4 kids to his fiance and potentially ruining an engagement? Okay. So I, 22 female, have an older brother, 28, that we will call Jamie. We've been roommates since I was about 17. In that time, I've seen a lot of girls come and go, even when he was in a relationship with different girls. I'm not a huge fan of his actions or how he treats women in general, but it's his life and he's free to mess it up as much as he wants, so I turn a blind eye to it. He has 4 kids. His oldest daughter is 10 and is the only one that he actually pays any child support on, but he rarely sees her. The other 2 are twin boys, 4, that he has with one of my close friends. She didn't take him to court, so I do my best to provide for them if she needs help. His son, I don't really know much about. I think he's around 8. He doesn't want kids and doesn't see them, but I may be a handful of times around the year and doesn't see his 8-year-old son at all. He calls the ones he has accidents and has said before that he wishes he hadn't had them because he gets irritated when their mothers call him. So essentially what happened 3 years ago, Jamie met a girl named Natalie and they immediately hit it off. She's moved into our apartment and I like her well enough. With his habits, I didn't expect her to last very long, but she surprised us both. Since I planned on moving out in the few months, she'd been talking about renovating my room and all sorts of stuff they could do with the space. She even laughingly said that maybe it could be a nursery. I thought it was a joke and brushed it off. Well, a couple weeks ago, while I was out at dinner with my friends, he had decorated the apartment and proposed to her. I congratulated them and didn't have any problems with this until a few nights ago when we were all drinking and talking. Natalie was gushing about her plans for the wedding and her bridesmaids and her new ring. Here's what went wrong. She mentioned how she wanted kids as soon as she could and how she could see my brother being the best dad. I started laughing. Basically, what I said was, he hasn't been the best dad to the 4 he has now. She asked what I meant and my brother started to freak out. I realized she didn't know and explained how he wasn't raising his kids and how he didn't even want to see them and didn't want the kids at all. Apparently, he had not told her about any of this. My brother was drunk and started yelling, so I called a friend and left. I stayed away a day or 2 and he blew up my phone. I guess he and Natalie are fighting horribly and he blamed me for it. I ruined his engagement and I'm an a-hole for telling her, as it should have been his choice to tell her about the kids. Our parents agree with him and have not been talking to me. Honestly, I feel like I warned her before things got too serious. Even if it wasn't deliberate, he should have told her before about them. So am I the a-hole here? Now for the top comments. From Solo1630. Not the a-hole, it's been 3 years. If he hasn't told her by now, then he did not plan on selling her. He is withholding a huge piece of information from her by not selling her. He has 4 kids. Here's another comment from Crystal Z2000. Not the a-hole. He ruined his own engagement by lying and leading this poor woman on. I hope she runs far from Opie's brother. Here's another comment from Good Girls Grace. Exactly. He ruined it by not selling his fiance. Opie saved her. Opie, not the a-hole. You absolutely did the right thing. First, regardless of how he is, as a dad, he fucked up by not telling her. He lied to her about the nature of their relationship for 3 years, even though they had a commitment. If they're serious, she must know. He didn't let her. So you did. Second, he is a dad and a shitty one. If Natalie plans on having children with him, she should know that because he's gonna be no different to their children. Third, Jamie has been horrible to his children. He is irresponsible. 4 accidents? Really? Refuses to take accountability both legally and emotionally and has neglected the kids for most of their life. That's not exactly someone Natalie wants to have children with, right? He probably knew she'd back out if he told her. This is a situation where you didn't ruin it. He did by not doing XYZ himself. Means literally. If he was just a dad and not a horrible one, she could have stayed with him even after she knew. There are plenty of people who chose to stay if their partner, knowing said partner, has children elsewhere. It's not the knowledge itself, it's the fact that he lied.